I'm Mason Mount. You're listening to the London is Blue podcast.
All right, cool. Well, let's go ahead and say, who will Chelsea's player of the season be? This should be quite interesting. I'd like to lead off with Frank Lampard. He will end up being a player manager and
Quality
save
player.
our season. All right, jokes aside, Nick, who are you leaning towards in this race?
So I've done a little bit of thinking on this, and I think there are some kind of obvious options, especially coming off of preseason. You could probably lean toward a Mason Mount or Ross Barkley. I think our player of the season is a guy that I've been high on, that I'm going to continue to be high on, and that's Pedro. I think Pedro has the ability to contribute some big time finishing. I think he's a leader. He's won everything there is to win. Frank, I think, will rely on him, if not for every match, especially when Callum gets healthy. I think for a lot of matches, since this is player of the season, it also includes cup matches. So I think there will be a fair balance there. So you got to be smart about that, boys, as you're thinking. But I'm excited for what Pedro can do. I think you've seen glimpses in the preseason.
Dan, I'll let you follow that one up.
I think Pedro is a sneaky good decision from Nicholas, but I think, again, to the point that he made, this does include cup competitions. It's not just the Premier League. I think across all competitions, Mason Mount will end up being the
no
player
pressure
of the season.
No fucking pressure from Dan over here.
No, not at all. If he doesn't and comes close to it, if he's the second or third best player on the team, either A, we had a really, really awful season, or B, we had a really, really great season, and he's shown everybody absolutely he's capable of, and saves us from spending 70 to 80 million pounds next season on a center mid. That would be the dream scenario, right? Because then you can go into the Mbappe fund and blow it all in the next summer. So to me, it's Mason Mount. Goals plus assists, the pressing he offers, there's going to be a lot of off-the-ball action that he provides. It's him, Brandon, and you can't convince me of anybody else.
I am not going to try to argue with a brick wall. There's no chance. You guys can watch me type this out.
Ooh, all right.
So I went with Willian, and it seems like every time we have a transition or a down season, he's the one who shines. I don't get it. He does well in cup competitions. If he's on free kick duty, which we don't know, I know Barkley's taking most of them now, but Willian hasn't featured yet. I mean, he's known to put in some good free kicks and do some damage. I had him as our assist leader, so that's going to make him a valuable player in the rankings for this. That's kind of what I'm thinking, And then if I want to hype this up just to get real controversial, he's wearing the number 10. And you put your best player in the number 10, so he's going to have to live up to that hype, Dan. None of this Mason Mount first season at Chelsea stuff. Willian has to be one of the longest-serving players on the team. He's won almost everything. He's been through ups and downs. But for some reason, when Chelsea go through transition and maybe aren't at their best, that's when he sulks but plays better than normal. So I don't know. I'm going to kind of gamble on that one a little bit.
Well, I hope the sulking is done because we saw a little bit at the end of last season, and it would be really nice for us to get the Willian in Mourinho's final second spell last season with us, where he did pick it up and offer some valuable contributions. But to me, Willian would need to hit double digits goals and double digit assists, and I just statistically, it doesn't happen for him. It doesn't, and I just can't see it happening for Willian. I would love to be wrong.
I think he'll also, because of your point, Brandon, I think playing on the left, I think he'll get more attention than he's used to as well. And that's why, I thought Pedro could be a sneaky player for all those reasons. And I just think the way that I've seen the players run in behind, Willian's never done that. What Pulisic did the other day with those two runs in behind, Willian loves taking people on. He loves to dribble, but he's not a runner, and I think that Pedro is going to benefit a lot more from the style than Willian. But, point being, when we just go through the goals that we need to score, we just go through the assists that we need to make, he certainly needs to be a big part of that for us to be successful. Because if he's not, you're over-reliant on Pulisic, you're over-reliant on a hurt Callum Hudson-Odoi, you're over-reliant on a Mason Mount who's never played in the Premier League. I don't think that's a good scenario for anybody.
All right, so when Willian won it back in 2016, I believe, he had 11 goals, Dan, 6 from free kicks.
Was that all competitions, though?
This campaign, probably. And that's what we're talking about.
Was.
It
sure was, yeah.
11 goals. So
I think his highest in the league is 8.
Yeah, 8.
Yeah.
So, anyways, just throwing that out there. All right, let's. We're getting there. Who will Chelsea's most improved player of the season be? I will go ahead and lead on this one. I'm actually between our 2 holding mids right now that are healthy, which is kind of unfair because Jorginho, I think, has always been class. Ironically, he might have been misused by the manager who created a role for him at Chelsea. Kovacic, on the other hand, I think we've already seen immense amount of improvements from him as well, and I think he's going to benefit from his system. And I actually think he can play in the 2 or across the front 3 a little bit. So if I get pushed, I don't know, guys. I'm gonna go Kovacic. I'm really gonna hope that he has a standout season, knowing that he's probably going to be a sub most of the time. But again, a lot of matches, a lot of opportunities to come in and fill that void. So, Dan, what do you think?
I think it's going to be Callum Hudson-Odoi. So you look at the fact that he had a bit of a blinding hot start to his campaign when he started to get some minutes, opportunity to Sarri. Obviously has a terrible injury that takes him out of contention. It really shuts down his season. Coming back, looks to potentially be healthy as early as September, which would be amazing. I think with Frank, with this system, with a little bit of desire to go more direct in the attack, that he will be a beneficiary and he could play a really good part having a year-to-year growth just in his ability to take on, his ability to convert some of those chances that we saw him take last season, but maybe just didn't have that pedigree of someone who's just a little bit more experienced in the league, Nick.
I'm caught between 2 players here, and I think I'm going against the obvious choice in Barkley to hedge my bets towards another player that I think is not getting any thought right now, and that's Emerson. I think that Frank has such a good idea of, which of the 2 fullbacks are going to get forward, and I don't think it's going to be Dave. I don't think it's going to be Reece in the minutes that he plays. I think he showed that the left side is an area that could be an attacking option for him. He doesn't have a Bogle on the right side who doesn't have the defensive quality and spent a lot of time in the attacking third. So my hope is that he really improves Emerson going forward, and he becomes a bigger part of the attack and the overlap and creates some mismatch problems with Willian or Pulisic or Callum Hudson-Odoi on that side, and that we get a few assists from him this year. So that would be my player to watch.
Honestly, I would love to see Emerson train. I bet he's a freak of nature.
He has to be so skillful, right? Like he's silky.
Well, and his ability to like explode, right? And like his quickness laterally. Yeah, I would love to kind of see what he can do when you put him through the paces, because he's so like explosive forward and laterally. I bet he can do a lot of damage. So
it's crazy that Barkley didn't make it. I was so close. Like I think he has the potential to just go this year, but
pretty sure he was everybody's second choice, would be my guess.
Yeah, probably just picked kind of bigger underdogs, maybe per se, right? So, all right. What position do Chelsea finish in the league? So this is the finale for Chelsea predictions. And we end with a bang. Nick, we have been skipping over you for a while. Give it to us. I'm already writing 10th.
Not 10th. I think we finished 6th. I originally said 7th. I'm feeling slightly better, but I think we flip-flop with United. I think that pretty much, kind of seals our fate there. But, and I'm dead-ass serious when I say this, Leicester's better, Wolves are better, Everton are much better. That 6th could, at the end of the season, while not acceptable to Chelsea fans, seem like a real accomplishment given where the league is going this year. And I think you're going to see a lot of strengthening around, and we're not going to be able to necessarily. And 6 is quite the accomplishment in that scenario.
You're saying Wolves, Leicester, Everton are better than they were last season, not better than Chelsea, right?
No, they have improved. I don't know if they're better than us yet.
I just want to clarify because I heard it first
Yeah.
as you were rattling them off as better than Chelsea.
No, they're just better in general. They have improved their status, and they are going to be much tougher in 7, 8, 9 spot than we had to deal with previously. Think about Everton last year. They were like 15th in the league until February. They were terrible. And then they improved. They're not going to go through that again. Like, they're going to be there and thereabouts. Leicester's going to be there and thereabouts. Wolves have improved. Like, it's going to be a challenge, man. This could be like a top 9 this year.
All right, Dan. What about you?
I don't think we will get into the top 2, but I also don't think we will drop out of the top 4. And I base that on the fact that I don't think any of the teams around us really got better in the primary positions of need. Arsenal had no problem scoring goals last season. Their problem was letting them in. They didn't improve their defense. Tottenham added one really good midfielder, but they've also sold some players and don't look to be any stronger than the team they have. So you worry about the rundown kind of mentality. And United, yes, they got Wan-Bissaka. Yes, they got Harry Maguire. But they still have not...
Slabhead. His name is Slabhead, actually.
Still have not figured out what they're going to do with Lukaku. They haven't fixed their striker situation. And we saw Ole, at the end of his tenure last season, really, really struggle to turn out results. He was not even in the car. He was ghost riding the whip with Manchester United, and it did not work very well.
Ghost riding the whip, yes. I
So
love it.
So because of that, I actually think we will finish 3rd again. Because I think the gulf between United and City and Liverpool and everybody else is so massive that there's so much chaos that, again, where Chelsea thrive in chaos, whether it's in the club or outside of it. We find a way forward, and I trust Frank, I trust Jody, I trust Petter, I trust Roman. I trust us to get it done. 3rd place finish.
Okay, I'm going to go 4th, and mainly because, Nick, I don't know if those guys will break top 4, but I think it's more likely, kind of to Dan's point, that maybe an Arsenal or potentially United or someone actually slip out of 5th or 6th this season with one of those teams pushing against them, but we'll have to wait and see. I'm gonna hold on to a sliver of hope, and I hope I'm kind of. I know a lot of the season ticket holder fans don't like this approach, but I almost say screw the cup competitions, focus on the league, build that base, and then move on from next season. But that's kind of where I would like to hold on to. That'd be my priority if I were in Lampard's position.
It depends, right? Like for me, I would, it depends on our Champions League draw, which we haven't been through, right? So the fact that we're pot 1 in the group means that we're likely going to be paired with teams that we could and possibly should advance out of that group with. So then if you put yourself in that scenario, even after a grueling group stage in the Champions League, you're still in a knockout scenario where anything can happen in the Champions League. And who knows, right? We've seen the craziest shit happen in that cup competition. Who knows? And then I look at the Carabao Cup, which I think is crucial for this team this year. And not because we have just a ton of depth lying around, but because Frank knows that competition after his year at Derby. And there are a bunch of young players who need some really good cup competition experience. If I'm the club, the FA Cup is the least of my concerns. And I know that sucks for people, but those two other cup competitions take precedent for me. And I'd love to get some early run with the youth in the Carabao Cup. Hopefully we get to see one of those matches while we're over there. And then I want to get a decent run in the Champions League, because why be in the Champions League? Why fight for all this thing, for this competition if we're not going to really have a go at it? I think that's a really tough proposition.
Well, we'll have to kind of see how it all pans out. But those are all of our predictions specific to Chelsea. So we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to round it out with top 6, bottom 3, Golden Boot, most assists, Golden Glove, and we'll kind of go from there. So quick word from one of our sponsors. Really appreciate the support they give us on our podcast. Be right back.